Hi, and welcome back to another episode of 10 Minute Strategy. This is Peter Propp, and we are here with Paul Levy. He's a co-founder of a company called Burst, which is trying to make a play, already is making a play, in the area of managed social sharing, especially for families. Now, that's my version of what Paul does. Paul, why don't you tell it your way?
Thanks, Peter. Good to be here. Thanks for having me on the show. So, Burst is a new mobile video solution designed specifically for families. And that means we've got an iPhone app, an Android app that lets you capture the moments of mainly your kids and selectively share them just with the people who care, not necessarily my 842 friends on Facebook who maybe don't care so much about my son's double in Little League, but to those 10 people, that's a meaningful moment. My mom in the Boston area, my in-laws down in Florida. So we give you the ability to capture those moments. They automatically save to the cloud using this phone and then selectively share just to the people who care.
Excellent. So let's just talk about, the setup and how it might work. I mean, we've all have, some sort of feature phone or awesome mobile phone that we use. And, you can capture a photo, you can capture video, you can do the sharing. It's not painful, but it's certainly not fast. And I think that's one of the issues you're solving, right?
Yeah, for sure. So right now we found one of the biggest problems in talking to families, and particularly that smartphone using mom, is that she's got a bunch of photos and videos that kind of sit stranded on her phone that she doesn't do a lot with. So she's got photos, she's got videos. Sometimes they're 2-3 minute long videos that she takes of her kids doing, whether it's youth sports or dance recitals or whatever it may be, but they just sit there because it's just so hard to actually share them. So what we've done is take a lot of that friction out of that sharing process. So as soon as you take a video using Burst, it's already uploaded to the cloud and saved for you on the web. So right there, you don't have any syncing, you don't have to worry about cords, it just automatically goes there, saving that time for that mom. So then from that point, it makes it so easy to create groups on the fly to share that content with in real time. So it's that solving that problem of stranded media sitting on your phone and then making it easy to share so you don't have to think about it. We're trying to take all the thinking out of it for that.
You showed me the product in person a few weeks back, and that's one of the things I loved was, the setup is really minimal. You open up the client, you do something with the client, and then you decide how to share it. You don't have to set up your groups ahead of time. You've thought about, I think we're in this world now where we don't want to be in setup mode and then deliver mode. We want to be in just do it. And, the iPhone and Android platform give you a lot of that flexibility to do those limited things pretty well.
For sure. And one of the things we're working on this summer with one of our future releases is the ability to create what's called a burst bubble, where let's say you're at the sports field for a baseball game with the other parents, and you can create on the fly a bubble, and it'll invite all the other people around you, and then everyone who accepts that invitation can contribute content to that bubble. And at the end of the event, the bubble bursts, and everybody gets a curated view of all that media by the time they get in their car or something from the game. So it's a very cool way to collaborate and get participation from the community in what you're doing and get great content.
So the individual that wants to create the bubble just ask people for their email addresses real quick?
Yeah, either you have them already in your phone, or if you have the app and someone has created a bubble, they will automatically be notified in that area that someone has created a bubble that you've been invited to. Accept, and then you can do that. So this is coming out later in the summer, so we're excited about that.
Wow, that's great. And I like it from a strategy point of view for you guys that every time someone shares, it's an opportunity for you to grow the virality of what Burst is all about.
Absolutely. We're definitely going to leverage kind of the community to create our users for us. So this isn't, we are going to let people to burst to Facebook eventually. That's going to come out in the next release because there are certain moments that you do want to share on Facebook, and that's important for people. But really, it's those moments that you're going to be sharing to those 10 people who will then, sign up for Burst on their own. They don't need to have Burst. So just one thing to mention, you don't need to have Burst to receive content.
Right.
As long as you have an email address or you can receive it as a text message. You'll be able to see that media that's been shared with you. And for that sender, they can send as many videos or photos at once. And so for that grandma, all she needs to do is click once, play, and all that media will show up for her on the web, on her computer. So making it very easy for both the sender and the recipient to do that.
That's great. And, we've certainly shot a lot of photos and video over the years as parents of athletes, and this would have been very valuable to us when our kids were littler. Now we take photos that we're not so sure they're interested, but it's a really strong solution. I think it's really cool. Let's talk a little bit about this category that no one would have ever known what we were talking about 3 years ago. This idea of curated and managed sharing. It's like sharing is great. Why sharing? Just share. But
right.
what's the reality is that Facebook has created a lot of oversharing, and I think that's one of the interesting problem sets that you're trying to address.
For sure, Peter. I mean, for me as a parent, I see in my Facebook feed a ton of pictures and videos of people who I'm friends with. Maybe they're not really close friends, and it is turning into be a little bit oversharing. So that's one of the problems we're trying to solve, is give people another way to share, just selectively to just those people. So it's the right content to the right people at the right time is the way we look at it.
Excellent. And then, so let's talk a little more about the burst bubble.
Mm-hmm, sure.
Okay. So I create a burst bubble with you. You and I are at a game. We join up in a burst bubble. And we can both take pictures to add to the bubble.
Yeah, you can both take photos and videos. And video is really the harder part that we're solving. But yes, you can take both photos and video. Great.
And then the bubble bursts, but that whatever that was has some identifier on it, and we can go online later and look at all the stuff that happened in that particular event.
Exactly. So this will be released later this summer. Just to be clear, it's not available yet, but in our release is coming out in August. Probably around August, it'll be available for the public. But yes, exactly. So both the contributors to that bubble will receive a curated view of all that content when the bubble bursts at the end of the event.
Excellent. Yeah. Well, it's a really cool thing. Now let's get down to the business side of things. Everyone at the New York Tech meetup gets yelled at when they ask about business models, but we're not there. So I'm gonna ask you what's your current revenue model? What's your future revenue model? What's the plan there?
Sure. So Burst is free to use for now for all users as we're just getting ramped up. Mm-hmm. But eventually we're going to employ a freemium model where you're going to get a certain amount of features and storage for free on Burst. And then ultimately over time, as you kind of use more and more, we're going to charge people a nominal amount on a monthly basis. Maybe it's $4 a month to have all your photos and videos stored with us in the cloud forever. So we think that's a small price to pay for a mom and dad to have all those moments saved forever on the cloud.
Right. But you're not looking at an advertising model?
No, we're not looking at advertising as a model. We are going to be a subscription-based model and potentially some in-app purchases down the road for some premium features like a sports package, which we're developing later this summer.
Excellent. And there's something else I was going to ask you. Well, I think this is great. I mean, I've seen the solution. I think it's really appealing and exciting. Now, just so you launched today or yesterday with version 2.
We just launched and really announced ourselves publicly. We had a soft launch around March. We were available in the iTunes Store and on Google Play. So we kind of came out in a big way, did our formal press release. There was an article written on TechCrunch in Boston Inno about us. Now we're a company of 10 employees up in Boston, most of us in technology, and we're ready to make some noise this summer.
Excellent. Well, it's a really cool solution. You're definitely addressing a known problem set, and I wish you all the best. Good luck, Paul.
Great. And just to let you know, Peter, the website is www.burst.it is the website for people.
Burst it.
Burst it, baby.
Burst it, baby. All right. Well, here's hoping you crush it.
We hope so too.
All right.
Thanks, Peter.
Thank you.